Okay, this is this is what is today? The ninth. Today is the ninth. Oh, there's my little face. Today is the ninth, and this is what they're doing today. It's a sunny day. It's in the mid 40s, and they're doing what's called a navigational flight. So she must have laid a good amount of eggs about 3 weeks ago, and so what they're doing now is they're out navigating. They've they've uh, they've grown from nursing bees to now they're going out and getting food. And there is a lot of these girls out in my face. Hi, girls. Yeah, nice to see you too. And there they are. Now, when they're out navigating, they're fairly harmless. Except for that airplane if it lands on my head. So, they're fairly harmless. It's the ones that have been out, seen the world a little bit, and they go, okay, can't trust anything in this world, including this guy sitting by my hive. So the new ones coming out, oh man, they are so loaded. Their legs are, I'm surprised they're able to fly back. Their legs are so full. So, so what you're witnessing here is a navigational flight. It might have been bigger earlier. I just now came out here to check on them. And I haven't seen this for a long time. Hey girl. There's one sitting right here staring at me. Who are you? So this is like, they're bringing in so much food, it's like spring. All right. And so they're really active today. I haven't seen them this active since, probably late fall last year. This is January 9th. I think it's 9th. Yeah, 2026. Got some fanners out there trying to cool the inside of the hive because it's so active. They're working up so much. They're burning so much energy. It's probably getting warm in there. Yeah, that's cool. Pretty cool stuff. See all that food coming in. Get a close-up view of how much food's coming in here. A lot of food. Landing all over the phone. What is this thing here in my way? I got one girl, she's on the phone inspecting it. Like, can I take anything off of this? That is a healthy looking hive. Right? That's, yeah. 63% last year of all hives were lost. I lost 50%. I lost one. The only one that survived was the one I caught from the forest back there. The farm bees. I was so glad to see that hive die. I know it sounds harsh, but such high maintenance, it's like just constant concern. Is this going to be the day that queen's going to die from that infestation and the hive's going to die? Because when you're down to one hive, and you're struggling to try to keep that one hive alive because your other ones have died, it's a little bit nerve-wracking to know at any moment you can lose your last hive. At which point I would have to, buy another farm bees, which I probably wouldn't. Now that I've gotten pretty proficient, and I know what to expect, I know what I'm looking for, I know, I get it, right? Oh, there's a nice orange. Look at that orange. Oh, that was such a pretty orange pollen. The odds are, squirrels, you pests, and so they dig up my gardens. I can't plant anything. Oh, spider web. All right, girl, I'll rescue you. Jim Dandy to the rescue. There's a spider. It's coming to get her. No, you're not going to get my girl. Get out of there. Spider came to sit down beside her. So the little spider had made a web there. I couldn't even see the web. All I could see was the bee dangling around, and it looked like it was dangling in the air. And so I watched the spider come right out and go to get my girl. And now that spider's on the ground. Everything wants to eat my bees. They get in there and get the honey and crazy stuff. That is one active hive right there. In the middle of January 2026, very active. Now in colder climates, you'd never see this. In colder climates, no. They stay hunkered in. I live in a zone in Eugene, Oregon called 8B. And so we get some pretty nice weather. Oh, hey girl. We get some pretty nice weather throughout the winter. Some winters are different than others, just like everywhere. But yeah, crazy. Look at all that food. Isn't that crazy shit? That's just crazy stuff. Where are they getting all of that protein? I don't know. I just don't know. Other than the dirt. I went for a run the other day, and when I was out and about, I was looking for flowers and in my neighborhood, trying to figure out, and I did see some low-lying flowering plants. There were weeds, and so I suspect they're getting some of that from there, along with the dirt. They'll get resources from tree sap, just kind of all over the place. They're very resourceful. And that swarm looks like, that navigational swarm looks like it's getting bigger. Yeah, it's getting bigger. I'm tempted to open that port, but they're fine. They'll get in there. They'll get in and out just fine. Because I've noticed already that I have marauders, so there's other beehives in my area now. For years I didn't see any bees, especially in the wintertime. I'd never seen not even one bee the whole winter for the whole time I lived here, which is over 25 years. And but since I've got my beehive, my first beehive about 3 years ago, before that I've seen no bees. Not even in the summertime until around July, I'd see my first bee and go, oh, there's a bee. And so now when I got my bees, I started seeing other bees, more bees. It was probably a coinkydink, right? That there was bees starting to build up the hives in my area. At the same time, I was purchasing hives. That is a big swarm. Look at all that food. That is, oh girl, you just about got my eyeball. That is a lot of food. I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed where they're getting it. Right? It's just amazing. I think it's amazing that they're getting all that food this time of year. It's just simply amazing. I can just sit here for, well, I couldn't sit here for hours, but yeah, you know, I can easily sit here for like 20, 30 minutes just watching these girls do their thing, just watching nature. Easy 20, 30 minutes. I don't like to sit there. I don't like to sit here that long, generally, because I noticed that the longer I sit here, the more agitated they seem to get with me about my presence. So I try to limit it to 10, 20 minutes. Um, Otherwise, I've noticed if I sit here longer than that, their agitation level goes up, and then they start to buzz me. They're just buzzing along. So if this was like in the colder areas in the United States, I was talking earlier about that, they wouldn't be coming out like that. So that's where those folks have to actually be really careful. They have to feed their bees. Unfortunately, a lot of folks, their main goal is to get that honey. And what they do is they live in those cold regions, and they're not able to do like my bees, get out. This is 8B over here, so we can grow there's quite a few things that can grow here throughout, 12 months out of the year. And so those folks, if they take too much of that honey, then they go in springtime to see how their hive's doing, and they're all dead. They starved to death. Right? They took their resources. So the best time to take honey is in springtime, when there's lots of resources for them to get, lots of nectar, lots of pollen. I'd recommend never taking honey after May. After May, 1st of June, leave the honey be. Right? That's going to be their resources for the upcoming winter. Just leave it be. So get it in spring. Get your honey in springtime, and whatever's left after the winter, and let them have the rest. And your hive will likely survive year after year. The odds are really good. Now, most of the beehives that die that people have their own hives. Most of those die from, combined with the Varroa infection, Varroa mites and disease. But one of the bigger causes is starvation from people taking their stored resources. Could you imagine you store a bunch of food in your pantries for the winter, and somebody comes along and takes most of it, and you've got a bunch of mouths to feed, and there isn't enough food to feed all the mouths, and they just starve. Man. This looks like it's starting to die down a little bit. I must have come out here just as it was getting ready to peak in their navigational swarming. Now, it's not necessarily called a swarm. I call it that because that's what it looks like. It resembles a swarm, right? But it's a navigational orientation flight. When the new girls, when they hatch out, so when the larvae hatch out, they'll stay in there and they will become nursing bees for up to the next 7 days. And when the opportunity's right, when the weather's right, they'll come out and do this orientation flight that you see, and then they become worker bees. Bringing in all that pollen. It's just so much pollen. It's amazing how much food they can put in those little tiny pouches on their legs. That is so much food on those legs. So I'm anticipating in the next couple months that these girls, there's going to be so many because they're going to be so healthy. The last time I did my observational panel pull, I had 0 Varroa mites, and that's the first time I've seen 0 Varroa mites after, because what I would do is I would pull it every 24 hours after I combined the hives. I would pull that panel every single day, just because I wanted to know the trajectory of the mites, whether I needed to do some treatments or something. And if the mite count was going up, I needed to treat. But if it was going down, then just let nature do its thing. And I went from 200 in a 24-hour drop. So it was a drop in 24 hours. There was a drop of around 200 Varroa mites in 24 hours. And then like the next day pull, it was like 150 or 170 or something, and then it just kept going down like that over the weeks. And the last pull I did was almost a week ago, and it was 0. And that's the first time I've seen 0 in a 24-hour period since I combined the hive. So that was such a crazy thing I did, combining almost a dead out hive that was sick and dying, having all those diseases, and combining it with a perfectly healthy hive. But I had to see, right? I had to see just kind of hive that I have, if it can recuperate on its own without me intervening. I wanted to see if it could recuperate it on its own from all the viruses and the Varroa mites, and it did, mostly on its own. Mostly. All on its own, mostly. So after combining it about 5 months ago, about 5 months ago, I've only done 2 sugar shakes and 1 ApiGuard treatment last year. So I don't anticipate needing to do any more sugar shakes or any more treatments with this particular hive. They went in, and about a week ago, they went in to the cells that had the Varroa mites in them. So they were infected cells, and the larvae, the bee larvae, they were obviously also infected. They actually went in, this happened in one day. They went in and removed all of the Varroa mites that were propagating inside the cells where the bee larvae were developing, because the Varroa mites eat off the fats of the developing bee larvae. And so they went in, these girls went in and removed all of the developing pupae that were infected with Varroa mites. They were able to hear the clicking or something, I guess, the noise. They were able to sense that there was something in that cell that didn't belong. And I came out here the next day, and I seen all these little white larvae on the ground. I saw probably about 10, but typically what they'll do is they'll fly away with them. So if I saw 10, there might have been 100 or more that they flew away with, right? So what'd you find over there, Ginger? Snake? Snake in the grass. Oh, I don't have no grass. Yeah, I don't grow grass. I grow plants instead. And so, yeah. Pretty cool stuff right there. So anybody, for you folks that are watching this podcast will be around for decades. I may not get any views right now, or hardly, but over time, over the years, this podcast, even though it starts out with just a few, it could end up with some more. Yeah, that's how YouTubing works. Just keep posting your YouTube podcast. Don't think about, I recommend don't give any thought to how many views you did or didn't get. If you got 0, so what? All right? If you've got something to share that you think is interesting to you, if it's interesting to you, then it's likely interesting to somebody else, right? Most likely. So you just make your podcasts of what your interests are and be patient, and could be years before something ever happens. And there you go. Yeah, when I first started this in April, is when I really got more serious about thinking about doing podcasting. I'd make a bunch of podcasts and put it on there and go on there and see how many views I got, 60 here, 70 there, 1,000 there. I'm going, and it became like an addiction, right? Oh man, I didn't get 0 on that one. What did I do wrong, right? And so what I learned was stop. What I learned is this, the value of not doing that. Don't care. Don't think about how many views you get on something if you're going to do a podcast or something. Just do your thing. Put your podcast out there, and don't care. And as time goes on, you just keep doing your thing. It'll all become like breathing air, and you just do your thing. Look at it as a hobby. Some people do oil painting, play an instrument, or sing, or gardening, and they make podcasts of it. And you got your thing, and you just record your thing now and then. Because it ain't nothing but a real thing, baby. Ain't nothing but a real thing. Yeah. It's not about the views that you get on your podcast. It's about you just keep doing your thing. And what happens also as you keep doing your podcastings, you'll develop a kind of a niche over time. It'll be like a toy, and you're just doing your thing. Oh, it's getting bigger. There's more girls coming out. So now they're getting into my face. It's getting a little heavy now. I wasn't even paying attention. It's like, okay, why are these girls getting closer to my face? It's because they're running out of space without bumping into each other. So they're getting closer to my face. Okay, I see it. All right. Now, like I was saying earlier, these girls, they're new. They don't understand threats yet. They don't understand their environment yet. They don't have that leery instinct yet. So they're very placid right now. But those girls that are coming back with the food, and if they come out and they see me, or I get their attention or something somehow, they'll buzz me. And maybe even sting me. I keep a box of EpiPens now. I experienced with an anaphylactic shock a couple of times, and so now I got a box of those, and there you go. I'm ready. It's just so much fun. I wouldn't say fun. It's like it's just peaceful to sit here and watch nature do their thing at this level and this intensity. Yeah. There was this one guy. He'd been a bee farmer for 35 years, and he had a routine, and he would go out and do certain things with his bees on a fairly regular basis. And he would not wear protective gear on certain beehives because he came to say, okay, these bees are behaving in a certain way. Okay, I can trust these bees, but I need to gear up for this hive, but I'm not going to gear up for that hive. And so he came to trust that kind of instinct. And so he went out with this one particular hive that he thought he trusted, and he started dismantling it without his equipment on, which I've done hundreds of times. I've taken my hives apart hundreds of times with nothing, no gloves, no veil, nothing. Short sleeve shirts and shorts, right? And no bee sting in general. But he went out there and he just started his routine, and they started to buzz him, and then they started to sting him, and when that aggressive pheromone, that attack pheromone, filled the air, they attacked him with vigor, and he got stung so many times they killed him. Right? 35 years of experience wasn't enough. So when I'm doing something with my bees and I see even one girl get aggressive with me, I'm going to assume that she's releasing stress pheromones in the air that are the kind that get the other girls all excited to sting, and so and it happens. It can happen very quickly, within a couple of seconds. You're being swarmed and stung, and so when I see one girl agitated with me, I typically get up and go away. Right? Maybe I'll stay away for a few minutes, let her calm down, let the pheromones clear the air, and then I'll come back, and most of the time it's okay. But there's been times when I'd come back after a few minutes, sit down, that same girl, she's at me again. And I'd walk away, come back, there she is again. And so that day I wouldn't sit down. Well, at least for hours. Yeah, you got to be able to really, pay close attention to their behavior. Don't never get relaxed in the sense that, so to the point where you let your guard down. When I'm out around my bees, I never ever let my guard down, not even for a split second. No. I'm watching any girls that might be buzzing around me, flying around me. I'm watching their demeanor to gauge whether or not they seem agitated with my presence. And if I see one that's agitated with my presence, time to leave. Because if it's going to be one, it can very quickly become many. Safety first, man. Now, by me also being here, so these newbies are coming out, and they're flying back and forth, and they're seeing me sitting here, and they see me not getting attacked, and there's no stress pheromones in the air, and attack pheromones, whatever that. I forgot what the name was, but there's a name for that particular attack pheromone, and so they see me. They're going in and out, and they see me as benign, and the bees have the ability to engage in what's called facial recognition. And if they're used to seeing me around, especially the new ones coming out, there's no stress in the air. Those girls will be more docile towards me in the future. And so I try to be here at least a little bit when the new girls come out, to let them see me, and over time I'll have a less likely to get stung or something like that. That's a scientific proven fact. Bees have facial recognition. In fact, they have to, if you think about it. They have to be able to make recognitions of patterns, and determine whether it's a food source, whether it's a threat, or whether it's benign like a tree. So what I want them to view me as is something like a tree, right? Something benign. And so there you go. Please subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell, click that like button. I appreciate that. And you have a good day. Bye now.